Hello and welcome to another episode of Sideline Stories here on the WMBD Plus app. I'm Patrick Cunningham, weekend sports anchor and reporter for WMBD TV 31. Recording this a little early this week due to the holiday on Thursday. So this is being recorded on Monday. I'll be talking about some stuff that'll occur throughout the week here. So if you happen to catch this later in the week around Thanksgiving or maybe Wednesday or Friday, just know that this was recorded on Monday and I cannot see into the future. Hope everyone has great plans for Thursday, time with family, some great food, maybe relaxing, watching some football. I'll say what I am thankful for. My family, always number one priority. My incredible girlfriend, Ariel, as well, a certified athletic trainer here in Illinois. She does a great job supporting me in this profession, and it's also great to see her in her job as well. She's an incredible athletic trainer, and the school district that has her is very lucky to have her. And then also thanks to everyone here at WMBD. We got some great people here, both in front of the camera and mostly behind the camera, because it's not just, I always say, it's not just us on the camera that makes these shows work. We've got an incredible team behind the scenes that make us all look really good. So let's get to what we're going to have here today in this episode. We're going to talk about Illinois State football making it to the FCS playoffs for the second consecutive year and their fifth time since 2015. Later, we'll have an interview with Bradley men's basketball coach Brian Wardle as they start an MTE down in Florida today. Their first matchup is actually this Monday night. They'll be taking on Princeton, along with two other games over the next 3 days as well. And then at the end, we've got first full week of high school girls basketball behind us now. This should be an incredible basketball season for our local area girls teams. Kurt and I have talked about it. We could have several teams going to state across all four classes. This is going to be a very fun year for high school girls basketball in Central Illinois. But let's start with the Redbirds here as they are headed back to the FCS playoffs. Again, fifth time since 2015 and the second straight year that they are going. A little bit of drama after we really didn't think there would be a whole lot of drama for this. They probably were going to be in anyway. With 4 straight wins, they were 8-3 going into Saturday. But after a very surprising 37-7 loss at home to Southern Illinois, who had their backs against the wall, they needed to make a statement to have a chance at making the playoffs. They were actually left out of the field, probably one of the first team or two that was left out, even after that win over Illinois State. But the Redbirds, they will be headed to southeastern Louisiana, where they will be taking on the 16 seed there. Winner gets North Dakota State, the Missouri Valley Football Conference champion, as well as the defending national champion. And they've won, about a dozen or so over the last 16 years. Got to talk with a couple of players on Sunday as they, watched the selection show, saw their names come up. They're used to being now, and that's the kind of culture you want. And while they were disappointed with Saturday's results, they also know that they are fortunate to be back, and now it's a brand new season. Everybody's 0-0. And one of the players I got to talk with was Wankers Wright, running back for Illinois State, a senior and a fan favorite. He's got 529 rushing yards on the year to go with 5 touchdowns. Illinois State does a great job spreading out their running game. Victor Dawson leads the team. Wankers had to miss a couple of games due to injury. Victor Dawson, 739 rushing yards this season. Even Tommy Rittenhouse, quarterback, he can run as well. He's got 326 rushing yards this season. Wankers Wright, who I think has one of the best smiles in all of Central Illinois, maybe all of college football. He's always great to talk to. Kurt did a story on him about how he's using his NIL money to raise funds to send back home to his native country of Haiti, as well as raising money to help send his sister to school down there as well. But I got to talk with him just about, the reaction to seeing their name called, and as well as, just being back in the playoffs. So without further ado, here is Wankers Wright.
Back-to-back years going to the playoffs. How's it feel? That's great. I mean, we've been working on this forever. Ever since I came here, I wanted to win, and that's what we're doing. And we're gonna force them to keep giving us more games. We just got to keep earning it. But yeah, it's a great feeling. We've been working on this ever since last year, where we lost our game in California. We've been trying to get back to the playoffs, and so we made it. Now we just gotta do something with it this year.
All right. You know anything about Southeast Louisiana at all?
We actually do have a teammate. His brother plays there, one of their quarterbacks. But that's as far as that knowledge goes. I know it's warm, and I know it's south. So that's all I know.
I was going to say, how's it feel getting to play, the really deep south there?
Deep south. It's going to be an experience. I've never been anywhere that far south, especially when it's like that deep south, but I'm excited. I mean, we're going to treat it as any other game, really. We're going to prepare to the best of our ability. Everybody's not going to take this game lightly. We need to force them to give us another game, and that comes from not letting the outside noise get to us, and it's going to be good weather, so it's going to be a good day to get a win.
And just, how do you bounce back from yesterday?
Oh, yeah. We, first of all, recognize what was wrong with yesterday, and that was on both sides of the field, offense, defense, even special teams. We could have been a little cleaner. So we're going to today will be the only day that we live in yesterday. So today we'll fix the mistakes. Coaches will watch it over. Players will take responsibility for things that needed to be taken responsibility for. But at the same time, tomorrow we're moving on. We're going to not make the same mistakes as possible as yesterday. So, yeah.
All righty. Your senior year, nothing's guaranteed after this
Nope.
point. Just how's that feel knowing that from this point on, every next game could be your last?
Oh, it feels good. I mean, you got to leave it on the field, and that's what I try to do every game. So nothing changes for me. This is the opportunity to play football, the sport that I've grown up and played all my life. So treat it just like every other day. Treat it like the first time I stepped on the field. I wanted to give everything. I wanted to give my all every time I stepped on the field. So the fact that it's starting to dwindle down, yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. But at the same time, I don't want to look back and regret anything. So I just keep going as hard as possible.
What's it been like playing the Redbirds?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. I mean, with the whole recruiting process during COVID, I just knew this was the right fit, even if my recruiting process was different than the other ones. But it's been amazing. The coaching staff has been family to me. The people that I've met along the way, the best people you'll ever meet in your life. And then through the Redbirds, I met my fiance, so that was awesome as well. So being here has been such a blessing, and it just keeps giving back to me.
Well, and you guys producing this in the field going back-to-back years for the first time in over a decade. What's that just say about this program, bouncing back after COVID?
Yeah, that just shows you got to buy into the program. I mean, we had some guys that left before this year, and their seasons are basically over. But for us, we get to keep playing. So you gotta buy in, trust the process, and we got something good here. And we're just trying to lay the foundation. We gotta make this culture make him be used to going to playoffs. Like this shouldn't be a shocker, but yeah, we're gonna leave it in the hands for the other people. But it's huge. It's huge for the program, and we're just gonna make it a norm, if at all possible.
Once again, they're facing Southeastern Louisiana this Saturday, and if they win, they get a rematch with North Dakota State, who up until a couple weeks ago, ISU was the only team that had really played the Bison close. Now, their arch rival North Dakota gave them a bit of a scare, but ISU had that as a 2-point game going into the fourth quarter, so they certainly are capable of pulling the upset, but to have that chance first, they've got to go down to the deep south, just Southeastern Louisiana, just kind of in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. I don't want to meet like right in the middle. They're kind of, like this, and then Southeastern Louisiana is kind of an equal distance from both of them, just north of New Orleans and then east of Baton Rouge. So, they're going to be playing in some warm weather. This Saturday, we're going to have snow here likely in central Illinois. Meanwhile, it'll probably be 75 down in Louisiana, so they'll probably be pretty happy with that. But good luck to the Redbirds, and we hope to be talking about them next week on the podcast, hopefully in a rematch against North Dakota State. Now, coming up here in our next segment, we'll talk with Brian Wardle as they start an MTE down in Florida as they look to, get some momentum after a rough start to the season so far. Stick with us. Welcome back. This is Patrick Cunningham again on Sideline Stories here. Bradley Braves, they are starting an MTE down in Florida. Again, this is being recorded on Monday, so obviously I don't know how this will turn out. So if you're watching later in the week, well, then you know how it turns out. But this is being recorded on Monday, November 24th. Bradley, 2-3 right now. Again, a super young team, and I know it's been a little disappointing so far for a lot of Braves fans. The last several years have been used to really strong starts from the Braves. You got to remember, though, that even with basically an entirely brand new team, especially in the starting five, with the exception of maybe, Jaquan Johnson now really stepping forward as the leader point guard wise. I mean, this is a very young team, one of the two youngest in the Valley, and they were still picked to do very well, and that comes from the reputation that comes with Brian Wardle as an exceptional coach who's able to plug guys into a lot of different roles. And right now they're just trying to figure some stuff out. And, if there's someone I'm not going to bet against, it is going to be a Brian Wardle-led team. And they have the capability here as they head down to Florida to really try and figure this thing out. Jaquan Johnson comes in, 19.4 points per game for him in the first 5 games so far this year. A.J. Smith, one of the newcomers, he's averaging 12 points a game. And, defensively, they've got a lot of things to figure out. Brian Wardle and pretty much every player that I talked to last week at kind of an open team practice, they said, our defense needs a lot of improvement. It hasn't been great. Their rebounding hasn't been great. But, we're only 5 games in. They still got about 25 to go. We're still about a month away from Valley Play starting. So, they do have time to, right the ship here. And, Florida's a perfect chance to do that. And so I'll turn it over now to head coach Brian Wardle as, him and I discussed, just how they've tried to survive this month of November and what they are looking for from Florida. So without further ado, here is Coach Wardle. You talked about November would be spent learning. What have you learned so far?
A lot. I think we've learned just offensively some tweaks, defensively some tweaks we got to make, lineups, staff assignments. So, that's what this is always about. It honestly is. It's very rare where you can have a team of older guys that everything just is in flow right from the jump. You're always trying to find rhythm in the non-conference and find things to help your team play better as the year goes on. And that's what we're trying to do and we're going to do as this season moves forward.
You always say in November, just find a way to win, find a way to keep
That's it.
Keep
Yep.
And just, how do you think this team is handling that?
Okay. We're getting a little better. We're starting to practice a little more consistent the last couple weeks, but it's still not where it needs to be. And we'll see. We just got to put together better segments. We can't have these lulls and whether it's offensively or just defensive breakdowns. Right now, our defense and our defensive rebounding is not good. And so we've got to clean that up, and that will help our offense, and that will help our team. So we're still trying to tweak some things and get better defensively.
How do you string those better stretches together?
Focus. Communication, talk, energy, effort, all the intangible things, the dirty work stats, like we say, got to be better, and that's what we're working on every day.
How's AJ handling, his time here in Peoria?
I think good so far.
Okay. Preparing for an MTE, 3 games in 3 days. What are you hoping to see out of your team?
Just a competitive spirit, the energy and effort that we saw in the second half of last night's game, and playing for each other, togetherness, and a camaraderie that we're all playing hard and we're all doing this for each other. And I think we're getting there. We're not where we have to be, but we're slowly getting there.
How do you uphold that team camaraderie, especially with such a brand new team playing with each other around the holidays, around each other?
Yeah, you're on the road. You try to do some team bonding stuff here and there and just make sure they're spending time together and getting to know each other. And, coaches can't force that. That happens organically. There's certain things that just happen. Leadership organically happens to me. Camaraderie, connected teams do. Like, coaches can put you in positions to bond and get to know each other, but it happens outside the locker room and outside the practice facility, and that's where we still are making steps there too.
Speaking of MTEs, how do you think they are doing in relation to, getting quality mid-major matchups?
It's different. It's hard to. Over the years, it's it just gets harder and harder to schedule, and college basketball's changed so much in the last 5 years that it's difficult to find those high majors on neutral floors nowadays. But high majors in general, they're not coming here. And ever since I've been at Bradley, we could barely get them. My first year, because we weren't very good, we got TCU here. But other than that, it hasn't happened, and it's probably not going to until some things maybe change. And we'll see where this all goes. This is still NIL, portal, conference realignment, scheduling. It's all been in flux the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So we'll see what happens as we move forward.
What were you looking for, I guess, out of an MTE this year?
Just quality opponents. The best opponents we can, top 100 if you can. Hopefully we get some of those games. We don't know yet. It's all hypotheticals until the season plays out. We don't know where teams are going to fall. You got to see how the season plays out. But we're playing some teams that were good last year. So hopefully we can go compete. And we've already played some really good teams. Tennessee Martin almost beat Florida State the other night. So, we've played some quality opponents already. So hopefully we go in there prepared.
And just 3 games in 3 days, a lot like Arch Madness. How are you hoping that gives us, a lot of new guys a taste of what that will be like in March?
Yeah, you hope. It's so early. It really doesn't matter. But I'd like to see the mental prep. Can we make adjustments and walkthroughs at the hotels from game to game to game and get better in some areas? That's usually a good sign if you can mentally make some adjustments and tweak some things in those games to win. And that'll be a good sign to see if this young team can.
And again, they've got time to figure this out. And if there is a coach in the Valley who I think can turn this around for Bradley, it's going to be Brian Wardle. Once again, this is recorded on Monday. They will open up tonight against Princeton. Depending on how they do and how another game goes, they'll play either Temple or UC San Diego in Game 2. That'll be on Tuesday, and then TBA on Game 3. Just looking at their schedule, once they come back from that, they'll have 2 games the first week of December, both at Carver Arena. They'll welcome in Washington State, part of that 2-year home and home that the Braves agreed to last year. And then they bring in Northern Illinois down from Rockford. Excuse me, not from Rockford, from DeKalb, my mistake. And then they'll have North Central come down in their one non-D1 game. So they've got 3 straight home games after this trip to Florida, and then they start the gauntlet that is Missouri Valley play. That will be against Indiana State December 18th, so November 24th. They've got just under a month to kind of turn this around. They have this trip to Florida. They've got several games at home. And so, could be some favorable conditions for them to really, jumpstart before MVC play. Now, coming up next in our final segment, we'll look at the Washington girls basketball team, who is going to be one of several elite teams in the high school girls ranks in Central Illinois this year. They just came off a huge win against Richwoods this past Saturday in what was a very intense. I mean, this felt like a sectional title game on Saturday, and it was the first week of the season in mid to late November, and just an awesome atmosphere to have there at Washington High School this early in the season. But we'll be talking with Mazzy O'Brien and Coach Barth when we come back. Welcome back to Sideline Stories. I am Patrick Cunningham. All right, we are now into Monday, so this is the first official day of games for high school boys basketball. We're a week into the high school girls basketball season, and man, what a day it was for Washington high school girls. This past Saturday, a 6-7 win over Richwoods. Richwoods going to be a force this year. They got bumped up to Class 4A, but man, that's still a team that could potentially make a run to state, and they hung in with the Panthers, who, made the trip last year to state in Class 3A. And I'll give the Richwoods Knights credit. They took a punch early on. It was 27-10 in that game, and Washington was just raining threes. They set a school record for 14 three-pointers in this game. Mazzy O'Brien with several of them. Avery Tibbs as well. Danny Gade. I mean, that team is just loaded with talent. Heron for Richwoods had 20. It was also a good day for Kanaya Todd as well. London Somerville had some big buckets as well. This was a very fun, very physical, intense game that you normally don't see this early in the season, and it was a great atmosphere. I'm glad both teams agreed to this. Washington 2-0. They've scored, I'll preview this ahead of these 2 interviews, they've scored 6-7 in each of their first 2 games. So, the young fans love that. Talking with Mazzy O'Brien and Coach Barth just about how, they've got a tough schedule and they're trying to prepare themselves for another return to the state tournament. And, they're playing a lot of 4A schools in that. They're playing in the Tournament of Champions that starts tomorrow, actually. They're playing a very highly ranked team out of Iowa, I believe a defending state champion. And it's going to be a very fun day. And they'll talk about their win on Saturday, along with just how beneficial scheduling these very tough games are, especially when you've got to try and make a run back into the Class 3A semifinals. So first up will be Mazzy O'Brien, followed by Coach Barth just after her. First of all, Mazzy, congrats on the big win. What's it like playing this intensive a game the first week of the season?
I mean, it's just amazing. All these people here just adds to the intensity, and it just makes us play that much harder. We're playing for those little girls sitting on the bench. We're playing for us, and we're playing for everybody. And it's just awesome that we get to be in this environment.
Did y'all intentionally keep the score at 6-7 points?
I mean, 2 nights in a row, so it does seem intentional. I mean, we make those little girls happy, so I mean, I guess you could say we did.
What's the biggest takeaway from today's game?
The biggest takeaway is when everything gets out of control, all you got to do is stay calm, control what you can control, and everything will work out for you.
All right, y'all faced a bit of adversity there in the second quarter, saw a 15 or 17 point lead evaporate. How'd you keep it together at halftime?
I mean, we just went in there and like what I just said, like everything was going crazy. We just got to stay calm, knock down shots. We put in so much work, and we just have to trust that the work that we put in is going to show up in the game for us.
All right, and biggest improvement you think to take away from this game?
Biggest improvement, I would say we are still fouling quite a bit, and I think that, like, yes, our defense is aggressive, and that's a really good thing, but I think we're giving them a lot of free throws and stuff.
All right, Coach, appreciate the time. Really intense game for the first week of the season. Just how big is that for y'all?
Absolutely, it's huge. We know we want to play great competition to get better as we go every day, and that was a great Ridgewoods team. Very physical, but I'm really glad that our kids handled adversity and did what we knew we could do.
What's the benefit of scheduling this type of intense non-conference game this early in the year?
I mean, this is preparing us for the long road ahead. Our conference is fantastic. We have a lot of these games on our schedule, 4A schools, that are going to make us better.
What are these little girls behind the bench there for?
So they're one of our travel teams, and we have made it a goal of ours to, make our community a part of this. And if you look around today, a crowd at a 2:30 on a Saturday in Washington, Illinois, it's working. We have a great community behind us, and this is just a small part of it. So.
For those little girls, final score was 6-7 twice. You doing that on purpose?
No, I was like, please, and the last time out I said, please make a basket. And my kid looking at me doing the 6-7 hands across the gym. So we'll take that for an average right now.
All right. Biggest improvement you think after 1 week?
Ball movement and defense. Definitely defense. That's where my heart lies, so I was happy to see that.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
I'm just proud of my girls for handling adversity and playing tough.
Hang tough they did. They saw a 27-10 lead evaporate in about 3 minutes as Richwoods came storming back. Heron hit a lot of threes. Kanaya Todd with several assists. London Somerville with a couple of big buckets. That went from 27-10 to 27-25 just like that. And then in the third quarter, just a barrage of threes from the Panthers, from a variety of players. They've just got so many weapons. It's very hard to guard them. And they're going to be a very fun team this year. Richwoods is also going to be a very fun team. They will be a force in the Big 12. I mean, they could compete with Peoria Notre Dame to try and take away that Big 12 conference title that the Irish have hung on to for several years now. And I'm just really looking forward to a very fun season of girls hoops and with boys hoops who start their games today. Tournament of Champions gets started this week. We talked about that on the CI Sports Zone podcast, Chris and Jonathan, just about the preparation that goes into it, the hundreds, if not thousands of hours by broadcasters, organizers, volunteers. It's a very fun week of highly competitive basketball. I highly recommend at some point from Tuesday through Saturday, if you have the chance, go check out some of the games as well as some local teams, previewing, who could compete this season to go deep into the playoffs and head either to ISU for the girls or to the U of I for the boys for their respective state tournaments. But thanks so much for tuning in for another edition of Sideline Stories. I'm Patrick Cunningham from all of us at WMBD. Have a good day and have a very happy Thanksgiving.